Today is day one of my 100-day project looking at the human-centered ocean industry. And so today I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I've planned out this project and what's kind of coming ahead. So right now you can see on my website, that's like a link in my bio, that I have outlaid the whole project. So I have human-centered ocean industry designing a transformation. And the way the ocean industry has worked over time is that it's slowly evolved, but not everything has. So a lot of things like contract agreements are, unchanged for 300 years or 3,000 years, depending. So if you look back at like Martin Stratford's book, the Maritime Economics, it has the history of shipping going back 3,000 years. And charter agreements haven't really changed since then. And we're looking at a new challenge for shipping in the future and for the ocean industries in the future, where they're going to need to support so many more things than they do support today, and more people, and to do that sustainably and to be able to meet the sustainable development goals, to make the ocean industry the way that I see that it should be, is that it should be safe, it should be sustainable, it should be smooth to operate, and it should be inclusive. And that's something that I've worked with my career overall, is to try to make space for more thoughts and more different people in the maritime industry. So, going to the project, we have this part that we're beginning now, part one, which is going to look at a background information about design as a problem solving tool. Because before, when I was working, starting in shipping, I didn't think about how things were made or constructed or designed or engineered, besides the engineering that I had in school, because it wasn't important for me as an operator how things were made. It was important that I knew how to use the things that were made. And a lot of the time, they weren't necessarily fit for purpose in the way that they should have been or even should be today, because they didn't understand when they were making them necessarily who was going to be using the tools or how the tools would be used. So things like when ECDIS first came out and it was on all of the vessels, uh, when I first started sailing, it was impossible to put lines of position, because every time you put lines of position, you have to go back um, through a whole bunch of menus, and it was really, really complicated. And if they had thought about how people use the projects then, or how people used those kind of products or those kind of things before, then they would have been more fit for purpose. And I think that when we're looking forward to a big transformation that needs to happen in our industry, we need to think about what those roles in the future will look like and design the industry to support those being good jobs and good positions, because we can now split with human centered design what the people will do for their work and what automation will do for their work. So it's super interesting challenges coming up on part one about design. And then part two, I'm going to be, and I'll talk to also this week quite a few designers, and hopefully I can get some of them on the live video stream, because I plan to do one every day for the next 100 days. But we're also going to be recording them. So I'll put the recordings up depending on when and who it is and whether they've agreed to this. And on part two, we are looking at the shapes and the segments of the ocean industry. And so I'm also going to talk to a lot of different people here in my network about the shape of the industry today and what it might look like in the future. And then part three will be really short, but it's going to be about how the shape and segments of the ocean industry really affect the world. And part four is on the stakeholders and the humans that are relying on the ocean industry or working in the ocean industry or affected by the ocean industries. So then it kind of looking at who are we designing this industry for, and what their needs are. And then part 5 will be all about the constraints that we have to comply to. And some of those are going to be regulatory constraints. Some of them are going to be physical material constraints. Some of them are going to be like the fuel transition. There's a huge constraint there with fuel availability over time and actually being able to build up enough capacity. So that's really going to be interesting. And then part 6 is going to be the fun part where we imagine and make hypotheses about how the future could be and what we can do with it. And then part 7 is going to be how can we test if that's the right way forward or the way that we can go forward. So that's going to be more towards June because the project goes over 100 days. So we'll start at part 1 and we'll move all the way to part 8, which is going to be the best practices. And then part 9 will happen the last week of May, which is going to look back on the whole project and what we've learned and who we've talked to and the next step forward, because I think that this is going to be a collaborative development. It's not just me here talking and pushing this forward. It's all of the people that get involved with this project and that talk about these problems and how we can make agreements going forward as, members of the industry and leaders in the industry to try out what these new business models might be, or to try out this new human-centered approach to the industry. So very excited. First day. And this is going to be happening either in the morning before work, like today, or in the afternoon after work, because, I have a lot going on. Today I'm in London for work. Looking forward to a really interesting workshop for a very interesting project. But day 1. Let me know what you think. I know that the video quality isn't super great on LinkedIn because I didn't bring my webcam, and I'm using the one on my laptop, which is not the best. But talk soon, leave comments. If you want to be interviewed or involved in the project, please let me know. You can message me. You can find me on the website. You can, just get in contact. Thanks. Talk soon.